Watching West Wednesday, Justice for Tyrone West and Justice for all victims of police brutality. Tawanda, it's all you.
Yes, Mike Tech. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to play the video that we often play when we're online, and we will be back. We don't have any special guests, but we do have special updates that we want to share with you. Mike check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Can't stop, won't stop, till killer cops are in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up.
No, why you want to Why would you say
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz. In a video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one. Concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly. Picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, I said, what's wrong with it? Improper way with it. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the law?
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah, let me get it.
The profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Yeah, you can record me. For what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What do you call a supervisor? I won't do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we're getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardes Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings,
and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses. The N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 and 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you, twins, and thank
Mic check.
everybody that's tuning in right now. So tonight we don't have any special guests, but I do have special announcements. There's a lot of stuff happening, and I'm excited, to be a part of everything that's happening, because we're in real times. And my thing is, if you keep quiet about stuff you see and things like that, you won't be heard. It's a lot of stuff that needs to be said. And there's a lot of stuff that's happening in this world. People are still keeping quiet to this day. And this is real sad and traumatizing. But anyway, next week, I don't know if everybody is aware, but next West Wednesday happens something good is happening, or not even really, I'm not even gonna say good, because it's no good thing when we're abused by police and law enforcement officers, but National Police Brutality Awareness, National Police Brutality Day is happening, and I'm just glad that it's happening, that it landed on a West Wednesday. So we plan on being boots on the ground. That's why tonight I elected for us to just kind of talk about it, and we'll be sharing the flyer if it's not already up yet, because I'm coming through the audio and I'm not able to see what is being shared right now. But we will be out in West Baltimore, right, in the historical West Baltimore, where a lot is happening. And the reason why I elected West Baltimore, because we just had a weekend big protest for Dante Melton, who should be here, that was actually suffering from a mental health crisis. And it's just sad. And we had to go in that neighborhood and support his mom. It was just all in support of Miss Alicia. And it's really sad that we have to even go to these things, and that's happening now in 2025. Like, we're not still in the 1965. This is 2025, y'all. And this stuff, we are still, in my saying, modern day lynchings, and it's happening, and it's been happening before us, and that's the part that saddens me and breaks my heart. And I'm really emotional because it's this book that I'm reading, because I'm going to be a part of this big, it's like a lot is going on. I'm sorry to be like everywhere, but I'm actually in 2 upcoming documentaries. I shared one of them, Baltimore Beat. That's going to be coming soon in November, and I'll be, once it gets publicly shared, I'll let you guys know where it's going to be, shared at. And then I'm also on another documentary that I went and saw a sneak preview of this week, and it was amazing. And so I'll be sharing all that stuff with you. But I'm also, in the month of November, I'm going to be doing something at Red Emma bookstore, and it is pretty much talking about these medical examiner's office. And right now I'm really reading this book. And when I say it gets me emotional, literally, y'all, I have to take breaks. I read it every day, but I have to be so that I won't be overtaken, because it's so much, and it just takes me back to 2013 when my brother was first murdered. And I knew something wasn't right from the way that they took all the time to, give us information. It was just really crazy. And then what blocked my brother from getting prosecution is because the medical examiner's office, David Fowler, played a big crucial role in the reason why we did not get the prosecution part. And now that they are getting ready to, they pretty much now classify and rule my brother's death, as we've been saying, it a homicide. Because when they do this undetermined foolishness, that is just a free pass. And when I say free pass, that literally is a free pass to get these killer cops off. Once you say undetermined, it is not murder. That is a free pass to get these killer cops off. And it's just so sad. And by me reading this book, it is like really traumatizing to me, because everything that I'm reading is exactly what I went through, and exactly why we started going week after week protesting at the Baltimore Medical Examiner's office, and calling David Fowler out, calling Bruce Goldfarb out, calling Pamela Southall out, just calling them out. It is disgusting. And the crazy part about it, it's not just a Baltimore thing, y'all. This is something that's been happening for decades, y'all. And it's disturbing, and it's horrible. It's horrific. The stuff that we're literally going through, that I never asked to be a part of this. Like, I'd rather have been living a normal life, if one must say, where, this type of pain did not hit me so close, did not knock on my door. And then the crazy part, it didn't even knock on my door, because my family wasn't even respected enough to have someone come knock on the door, or someone to pick up the phone and call me. Always the video that we play, it always bothers me, because this incident with Darrell literally happened 24 hours. Literally 24 hours before my brother rode up that same road driving my Mercedes-Benz, not knowing he was going into a death threat. And as you hear Darrell say, he said on the video, thank God he was just like on his P's and Q's to be like, oh, hold on, video record this. This is going on to the internet. Well, back in 2013, my brother, at the tender age of 44, was not like into like Facebook, internet stuff. He was just, living his life, enjoying it, trying to be, a father, a hard-working man, going to work and just trying to establish his life and doing his little painting and his artwork and stuff like that. And he was brutally executed. And I don't even want to get into that, because I don't want to make myself feel sicker than what I already felt. Because like I said, every time I read this book, and I'll share the book with you, and I'll share the book event as we get closer to it. And I want everybody to go get this book. And I'm not even trying to push nobody's book, because the book was given to me for free. But the information, once you see this information, it's just like, it's so overwhelming. It's nothing but truth. It's everything that I felt for decades. It's the reason why I went into my pocketbook, y'all. I didn't go through a GoFundMe. I didn't raise up any money. I literally, when they came back with that foolishness, it broke my heart. It took them 154 days, y'all. Me and my family, we had to bury my brother without a death certificate. You're born into this world with a birth certificate that's time-stamped, sealed when you were born. And when you're murdered, you're supposed to have a death certificate. But because they lied, y'all, which was very disturbing, very disgusting, that thing tore my family up. And we had to wait. So imagine waiting 154 days. And, you're doing everything right. My family immediately, guys, we organized, we gathered, and unfortunately, that is how West Wednesday was birthed, right? It was birthed through the blood of my brother, because immediately when my brother was executed, we didn't know what to think, we didn't know what to say, and I was the first one. The first one to find out. I was the last one to see my brother, and that thing tore me up. And instantly, just because of our bond, our closeness, instantly when my brother was being murdered, y'all, that day, I felt pain in my body. My ex fiance thought I was going crazy. It's like, oh my God, you're gonna really send yourself to the hospital. And I'm like, my neck, my back, my body is aching, and I felt so bad. And when I got up off of the floor, and that's when my old life ended, y'all. Because literally, when that type of trauma that leads you to the point words can't describe. It's like somebody just came and ripped your heart completely out your chest. Like they took a straight knife and just ripped it out. I want to say like claws. Like just imagine a knife that was shaped like claws and just go running up to somebody and just dig it right in their heart and rip it out and just pull that thing out and just squeeze it. So instantly I died. Like I'm telling you, it was so traumatizing. And to go through that type of pain, but to literally, so I won't lose my point, get played. And literally when the detectives came into my family's house the very next day, because once I felt the pain, I'm telling everybody oh my God, something bad is happening. Please go check on my brother type of thing. And finally it came to pass on, I think it was the 10 o'clock news, and it said late breaking news. It was something happened with a traffic stop, and somebody had died in police custody. And I'm like, what in the world? And at that moment, I'm on the phone with my auntie. I'll never forget it, because we called in every hospital because I felt this pain. And then when my ex turned around and said, you were right, they killed your brother. And I'm like, who killed my what? My whole world went dim. My whole world went on life support, y'all. I literally died right there. It was so traumatizing. I'm sorry. I need 1 minute. Just a second. But it was so traumatizing. And then when I got up off of the floor, that's when the new me came down. I was little quiet old me, just a little teacher. I literally didn't even like talking in front of crowds or anything, but to have that type of pain that literally, I remember using one of my family members as the representative, because like I said, we got organized real quick. And we started protesting. We're waiting, why didn't we went to the medical examiner's office? Why didn't y'all? We didn't have that chance to say a prayer, get that call. You go visit your loved one at the hospital, even if they're not still alive, they're unalive, because now we got to make everything sound animated, because if you say certain words, they get blocked. I was wondering why so many people are using these terms that I hate when I hear them say it, somebody got unalive. I'm why they ain't saying what really happened? But as society would have it, they're always trying to whitewash and blackball what we say and distort us. And another thing that this thing is a romantic story, and it's heartbreaking and disgusting. But I'm only saying these words because I don't want our page to be flagged and foolishness like that. But when I found out about my brother, and it came to pass, and we went to the medical examiner's office, and I demanded to see my brother, and they're like, well, this is not a funeral home, go get your funeral home that you like and get them to come pick your brother's body up. You can take it from there. And we just went through days where, and I immediately, we get our funeral home, we're waiting, and still nothing. Dead silence. And then I call the funeral home back, did y'all get my brother back? Because I remember the detectives came to see us the next day after we searched them down. We went on a whole rampage of what's going on, and they pushed my family to the side, and they're like, we're gonna meet back up and give us one of your loved ones' address and stuff like that, and we'll talk to your family tomorrow and tell you guys some details. And they ain't tell us nothing. That was an interrogation of my family. Because you have Detective Delgado, you had Lieutenant Colonel Russell, and another white detective come in my family home and literally asked us one by one, hey, I want, they're being our friends, I want to talk to you guys about what happened, your loved one. Well, let's just introduce ourselves. First, tell us who you are, and then where you work at. And I'm thinking in a normal conversation, and I mean, conversation icebreakers are okay. Let's introduce yourself so that way you can know who people are. That's nothing wrong with that. But then I started scratching my head when you're like, where do you work at? Where do we work at, or what do we do for a living? Got to do with my brother being executed and me seeing people on the news talking about they had video cameras, footage of my brother being, murdered. Which to this day, you're talking about 639 weeks yet later, no video, nothing, But long story short, speeding it up, and they go and tell me that they didn't do the autopsy yet, that it was going to be performed around noon, between 12 o'clock and 2 p.m. that the autopsy was going to be done. And they said, we want to make sure Mr. West didn't have a bad heart. We know it's hot yesterday. We'll make sure Mr. West didn't die from dehydration. Everything that was on that falsified report was what they came there before they even worked on my brother's body. Before he was even in front of Dr. Pam Southall and David Fowler, they already told me what the autopsy report was going to say. The depict 154 days later. But just imagine, y'all, not burying your loved one with a death certificate. That was disgusting. And then to wait 154 days later for them to come in with some foolishness and say, oh, Mr. West, it was undetermined. I'm like, how was it undetermined? When witnesses said my brother was beat from one side of the street to the next side of the street, and it was horrific. Like, what are you talking about? Undetermined. Like, and it just was crazy. But now I know that's the tools that they use to give these killer cops free willy passes. You murder your loved one. And it's disgusting. So we went through that and just going through that. And that's why I think it's very important for us to literally be out, boots on the ground. And the reason why I chose West Baltimore, because it hit me when we were out there, like I said, Dante Melton's mom, and just knowing that literally right around the corner from the 7-Eleven, y'all, was where Miss Brooks had gotten killed. Her house is literally right around the corner. And then when my friend, my bestie, she looked at the address, she was like, oh my goodness, and she's always doing all these things with numbers, because numbers do mean a lot. Like, numbers speaks in volumes, and she's always connected numbers and things of that nature to the spiritual realm. And she said, oh my goodness, she was like, look, and she even went to go put, because she was staging all around where we were at, and it was just, it was a lot. And then we went to go stage in front of Miss Brooks' house, and when she noticed the address was 2711, and she did the math. She's like, Miss Brooks was the second one to be killed by the police on that day. And I was like, and then she was like, Dante Milton was killed at 7-Eleven. I was like, oh my goodness. And then that just struck something in me, and I was like, wow. And I think that's probably why I got sick over the weekend, just processing all that, being stressed and just taking all that in. It gets overwhelming. And then I'm like, this is where too that all these overdoses are occurring, and they never find nobody out that is giving out these tests that are killing Black people. This is where Abdullah was assassinated, not even blocks over. You make the connection, it's like, wow. So that, and this is where, think about where Freddie Gray was actually executed at, over in that neighborhood and all that stuff. So I feel compelled to be right there at the CVS, right there on Penn North. So if everybody and everybody, I want y'all to meet us there at 7:30 on next West Wednesday. And we won't keep you long, but we just want to be out. It's the day that, we and people are going to be doing demonstrations literally all around the world, in different spots, different places, probably different timings and things like that. But it's very important because, if we don't know what's happening, and until it hits you, and it's unfortunately the way the system is so dirty, until things personally impact a family, you can feel for somebody, no doubt, because we get a lot of empathy, and it's like, oh my God, and that's probably where like a lot of people that even haven't been personally affected by police brutality, they come stand in the mix and in the glimpse with us. That's fine, that's cool. But it's a whole different thing when it personally hits you and knocks you completely off your feet. And then now you see the dirt that you could not see when you're feeling for somebody, when you're personally impacted by it. And you see the corruption because they're playing the same games with you that they did with the next family. It's just like same game, different name. All they do is the only thing is the victim names are changing, but it's the same game. And I always said that they read from like a book, like a script. They come in family houses, and then the crazy part, and I know it to be true because I remember when Lieutenant Colonel Russell had offered as a black man, like, well, I'm gonna hold people accountable, and if you like, I'm good. I'm a deacon. Somebody, I think he said it was a deacon at a church or something. He was like, I'm gonna pray with your family. And then we started asking for transparency. We gotta pray. I'm like, I don't want to pray right now. Like, I love prayer, but I get a prayer from my bishop. I need answers and transparency from you guys. I don't need y'all to pray for me. Not after my brother was killed by y'all. Y'all got me messed up. I love the Lord, and God knows I love the Lord, but you ain't going to get out of this one with no prayer. No, we ain't trying to hear none of that. We want to hear what happened, who did it, and why did it happen. Like, what? That's where we were. That was our stance. But the whole point of it all, every family member goes through the same thing. There's different times they come in, you don't know what hit you, you're under this black cloud. And that's why I felt compelled when I heard about Dante Milton and the similarities, that way he died like in a hog tie position, like how they smothered my brother to death. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I had to like reach out to his mother. I'm like, somebody connect me, please reach out. Somebody please connect me to his mom, and thank God I made the connection. And it's the same exact thing. Like, it's just different families, and it's so sad and it's very disgusting. But I remember when Lieutenant Colonel Russell offered to fry some chicken for my family. Like, I don't want to fry no chicken with you. I told him straight up, I want to fry chicken with my brother Tyrone West. If it ain't him, keep your chicken. I want answers. And the crazy part, I learned from my sister Nicole, may she rest in peace, and my brother Marcus Pettiford, he pretty much said that Lieutenant, if I'm not mistaken, but Lieutenant Colonel Russell, even I think he fried chicken for the family or something like that when it was Anthony Anderson's family. But this is the dog and pony show that they do to hurting families. And then I remember at the time the prosecutor was Greg Bernstein. He laughed at Anthony Anderson's family face. He laughed at my family's face. And the only thing he could step back at the end of the desk and say was behind his desk at his table talking about some foolishness. Oh, well, this makes good for a civil case. Like, what? But then, and it's just crazy how the system and how corrupt and dirty the system is. Like, stuff just makes me so mad. That's why I avoid trying to watch like TV besides trying to see what's going on real quick with the world, because it's mind blowing. Like, everybody's all excited and they just don't know what we up under. Like, just thinking this from a parent standpoint, and it's sad that like for anybody to get murdered. Like I said, murder is murder. It's a hurting feeling, and nobody deserves to be brutally murdered. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on that. That's me. That's not the West Coalition. That is me speaking. But when I see another teenager, 16-year-old boy, take another teenager's life, which is it's heartbreaking. And I remember being in a courtroom, at some point in time this year, and I saw two different families. I saw the family of a victim and the family of a suspect, and both of the families were left tore up, and it was so heartbreaking. But for me to literally see them give a teenager 80 years, a 16-year-old, 80 years, but yet you never see them give none of these killer cops 80 years. Even with George Floyd, that killer, Don Chauvin, deserved 80 plus years. They only got like 22 years or something to that effect. But it's disgusting. But yet you give a 16-year-old 80 years. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And then, and the crazy part, we already know that they're going to throw this baby, you know, into population where their long-time lifers at. And I don't care who said, well, that. Judge your mother. Don't judge me. And this is not coming from the West Court. This is coming from me. But at the end of the day, God forbid, I feel so sorry for that baby that got killed at school, because no baby deserves to go to school and lose their life. The parent, I could not imagine that type of pain. You send your child, you know, to school to learn, and then you get a devastating call that your child was murdered in school in a bathroom. That is so heartbreaking and devastating. Praying so hard for that family. Oh my God, like, oh my goodness. And I even saw the parents, the father and the mother and the father speak on the news. It was so heartbreaking. But all I'm saying is, for them to do like just the way they throw away our kids, and it's just disgusting to me. But yet they can give a baby 60, 80 years, you know, but then certain like serial killer, white killers, like the serial killer that killed my cousin Tavon Anderson, Everett Swart, a white serial killer that was in Baltimore, that they want my family to be quiet about it, and not. But yet they gave him like 39 years for a gun, but they should have gave him about 80 something years for killing my cousin. For no reason. My cousin ain't know this animal, you know, and I still think it got something to do with Killer Ruiz. If they get their little hitters, their informers, they get them all. That's why I say every time anything strange and unusual happens around me or to me, I'm putting it out there. And trust me, young girl, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do any drugs. It's coming from my clear mind. And of course, the things that I see and go through, of course you're going to be paranoid. But I'm not losing it like, oh my gosh, like I'm not seeing things or hearing voices or no foolishness. You know, I'm just seeing what's going in front of me. Like I'm seeing me get served for 2 parking tickets, literally. 2 parking tickets. They sent a white guy to my house to serve me, and literally after the time of being Americans, every time we do a big protest and we're out there, and I knew they was coming because instantly when I saw the article that the Sun did, and I was surprised. They did an awesome job. And I was like, okay, I'm looking at it. Then normally I never read the comments, because when you read the comments, you got all the internet gangsters that's hiding behind their keyboard. They're going to say any and everything they want to say. They're going to be saying horrible stuff. They're going to be calling us all type of names and talking about the victims, and I won't even go through the awful stuff I saw because I got off. But what I did do before I hopped off, I instantly, on every comment that was shown at that time, I hit the angry face, and I'm just like, wow. And then when I thought about it, like my friend made a connection, like some of the people that I hit the angry face were active police officers, you know, Trump supporters, things of that nature. So I knew that they was coming for me. And I already know because I remember when my brother was murdered, and one of my cousins was our family representative, was speaking up on the news for us. We had all the trolls come in, and somebody had looked him up and went and said something about the time he was getting a divorce or spousal support, and they had the nerve to put that in a comment like, oh, he's a deadbeat or spousal support. Like, what are you talking about? The foolishness. Like, so that's what they do. So I believe that they try to look me up and they're like, damn, she you know, she's not a criminal, she's not in the criminal system at all. Let's see if she got any parking tickets. Like, what parking tickets, y'all? Like, my car wasn't even parking tickets. You can't make this up, bro. You cannot make this stuff up. Literally went in the system, same way I got parked tickets, got a fake summons. Now, when you get a summons, you supposed to whoever served you, because he gave me some, like he's serving me. You know, are you that? Are you Tawana? Look, bro, give me the paperwork. He gave me the paperwork, but ain't nothing filled out. He's supposed to, like, say, oh, yeah, I served. This is who I served. Write it down so I can turn it into the courts. I got this court date coming up in December. But it's crazy for parking tickets, bro. Parking tickets. And then it's so corrupted, they would even have people, because half the time, you got to think about it. With racism, you got racist judges, you got racist lawyers, teachers, like it follows you everywhere. Racism rears its ugly head everywhere. And it's so sad that, you know, that they can do the stuff that they're doing because they've been doing it forever. And the first thing I thought about was beautiful Corinne Gaines, who got served for traffic court. Like, you said, a squad, y'all, with all these rifle gunshots, and like it was like really like to a beautiful queen house for traffic violations, traffic stuff. Not that Corinne Gaines killed no one, none of that, but traffic stuff. And then you execute her, and then you shoot her poor baby in the face, try to execute the baby too. And do you want to say something about her with her right? She had a right to carry, and she had her permit to carry to protect her home, to stand her own ground. And you see somebody busting in y'all don't know who they are, and then Facebook being with it too, because they'll cut your live, they'll do anything. So my whole point is, when I see something, I'm going to say something. I shared the video with the dude at my door for no reason. When he came back, the sticker that he left for me to call him all like foolishness. And then the day I called the number it was one of those app numbers that, you know, you use no longer working. Like, anybody can download an app that can call somebody or whatever the case may be. But my whole point is, it's every time, and every time. That's why I love going in my memories. Because, see, the reason why I always document this is my blueprint of telling the truth. So that way, you know, you can always go back to the archives, especially like when you're uploading stuff on like the internet, which is the internet. You upload that stuff, it'll be that blue thumbprint that you can always go back and look at and pull it out. You know, and every time, every meeting, I remember, I think it was last year or 2 years, a couple years ago on this day, you know, somebody had got my tires. I was cut my tires again. I was doing a meeting, I think, with Senator Jill Carter. And I'll never forget, Marcus had, he was like, oh my God, thank God he asked me to ride him and Nicole home, because he had to be the one to fix my tire. He put the spare donut on. He was like, damn, who ate you? Says they could like straight cut it with a knife. And he saw the big hole, like they stabbed it. And it's like so, you know, history repeats itself. So you'll see the foolishness every time you get ready to make a move or you're trying to do right. Here come the enemy trying to snap and snatch you back. But my whole point is, I want us to be a team where so we stick together and we have each other back, because it's just too much of hurt and pain. And we need to teach our babies, and I thank God that none of my children are in the criminal system and everything. And even if your child is, that don't make you less of a person, because children, anybody can get caught up in the criminal system. I can easily get caught up. That don't make me right or I'm perfect because I'm not in the criminal system. Because anybody at any time could be given a charge. That does not mean or define who you are. You know, but my whole point is, we just got to stick with each other, because this dirty system, and I was even at court, and I won't even share what day, but it was recent. And, you know, seeing these judges that really like hate Black men, like everybody that he was like talking to, I don't care whether they was wrong or right, had all these trumped up charges on them. Like, you charge this one dude for vehicle manslaughter, you know. And then you say, oh, well, we're charging you $500 because you were driving slow and peed in traffic. And then we're going to charge you another $500 because all of your tires were blown out and you were riding on your rims. Okay, well, that's why he was riding slow, because he was riding on his rims. And you tell me that. And then you go back to like 1992, y'all. And in some cases, 1996, like going back 30 years ago, y'all. Like going all the way back to be like, oh, well, you did this. Oh, you had marijuana on you when you was in high school. You're a danger to society. Like, the foolishness, it's just horrible. And this is the stuff that we as Black people and brown people have to go through. And even, unfortunately, Caucasian people, you know, too, as well. But I'm talking about mainly that because it's disproportionately our facts that way we get targeted as brown and Black people. And it's just so sad and it's very disgusting. But like I said, I'm not here to start anything. I'm just here to get accountability. You know, I'm a hard working woman, just like anybody else. Go work for their paycheck. I'm not sitting back waiting for nobody for a come up, none of that, because nobody goes in their pocketbook and spend money to get money. Like literally when they came back with that foolishness talking about my brother died from dehydration and a bad heart and undetermined foolishness, I immediately dug in my pocketbook and got 50 G's out. Plus to have my brother body, because you're not gonna do that to my brother. You're not gonna know. Mr. West will have the last word. And the crazy part, how they broke my family heart. Just imagine a couple days before the holidays, even if you don't celebrate holidays. But me being big on holidays, I like celebrating with my family, and it's not the West Coalition. This is the Wanda Jones speaking. You know, and Christmas is one of my brother's favorite holidays. So me getting my brother's partial or child to report like around December the 22nd, a few days before Christmas, was heartbreaking for them to come back and say that they wasn't charging anyone. He straight out said it. Unfortunately, your loss. And the crazy part, and I'll end on this note before we go and check questions and comments, but the way that they blame us or the victims for their own demise. It's like, oh, just like in Eric Gardner's case, oh, well, he was overweight. He was bound to die because he was obese. You know, he was a walking heart attack in progress. Like, what the? First of all, madam, ma'am, sir, your officer killed this man. They choked him to death. He started screaming, I can't breathe, and you let this happen to him? Like, what? And then when y'all lie and say my brother had a bad heart, and my brother was the most healthiest young man in my family. Are you kidding me? And this is my big brother. Like, are you kidding me? So this is what they do. They try to make it seem like, and then they always, in these type of instances, especially with these crooked medical examiner's office, they use, always try to make them say that they had drugs in their system, that like, so make it sound like there was a drug addict, which I know was a lie, because I knew for a fact that my brother had no drugs in his system, because my brother at the time was on parole, and every week I would take my brother for a urinalysis because they wanted to check his urine every week. And even when my brother was, you know, able to use recreational drugs, he would only smoke weed back in the day, but he never used like no cocaine or none of that stuff. You know, but my whole point is, you sat up there and lied and said my brother had cocaine in his system. They said the same thing with Anthony Anderson. They even lied and said that my brother ingested drugs, like he pretty much like choked off the drug, lied, straight up lied. And that's the same thing they did in Anthony Anderson's case. And I could pull out a whole other list of in custody deaths where they did a lot of shaky, shady stuff, y'all. So I'm just asking y'all, we just need to pull together, y'all, and fight and stand 10 toes down on the truth and in power. No matter what the enemy says to us, we need to keep it pushing, because at the end of the day, we are all we got and we are all we need, just like my brother Boom always says. But at the end of the day, we have to be the one to hold each other up, because these are some real times and it's getting real out here. And we have to hold each other up. Like, we can't be out here killing each other and just doing all this stuff. Like, we need each other to lift this system up, man. This system is dirty. Not to lift the system up, to pretty much knock it down and build it back up again. We need to keep lifting each other up with sisterhood, brotherhood, love. It has nothing to do with our race or color. It just has something to do with humanity. We have stepped away from humanity. We have stepped away from integrity. All the stuff that used to mean something means absolutely nothing. We are loyal people treating good people that are loyal to them like they ain't nothing, like they irreplaceable. Of course, like they not irreplaceable, and it's just disgusting, y'all. So I just say, every day, live it, enjoy it to your fullest. Don't stress nothing. Live your life, enjoy your life, because where we taking that, we got tomorrow promise, so I'm going to do this later on, I'll make it right. Guess what? Later on, not promised to us. Later on, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but later on, nothing is promised to us. But what we can do is just keep our stuff tight and right now. Whatever we can do to make it be a difference maker, be somebody that can uplift somebody in a certain situation, or whatever the case may be, that you can do positive. There's so much of negativity out here in the world. God knows we don't need nothing else negative. Like, we just need to lift each other up and have each other back for real. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people say they got your back, but meanwhile, they putting a knife in it. Meanwhile, people getting jealous over foolishness. But if you had one day to walk in somebody's shoes, you wouldn't even be, you would take them bad boys off. You would take them off and like, give me back my shoes. I don't want this. Yeah, I don't want this, because you never know what somebody is going through. Just because somebody greet you with a smile, say, how you doing, whatever, like, you don't know what that person is going through. Nobody knows what somebody's going through. And it seems like in most cases, it's like people are ticking time bombs. Like, you can't even blow your horn at nobody. You can't even say, I'm holding this door open for you. Dad, you could have said thank you. You will literally get killed for just challenging somebody to say thank you. Like, it's just like, you darn if you do, you darn if you don't. But all I say, love cures all. That's why I always say, live to love to live. I love you all. And I hope and pray that everybody, like when we share the flyer, and I'm going to share it, as soon as I get off, I'm going to make that flyer my profile picture. I want y'all to share it. I want, more importantly, y'all to come out. We got like a whole week. We're not telling y'all a couple of days. I'm telling y'all right now. Normally, I wait because I know as soon as I open my mouth that the popo starts sending people. The medical examiner's office starts sending people that don't like me. I know I got a lot of people that love me, but I also got a lot of people that don't like me, and I don't care. Don't care, because I sleep good at night, because I ain't never shade nobody out. I ain't never do no shady stuff, no crazy stuff. I always live in love and peace. So I sleep good. I sleep good. You know, besides being traumatized, thinking about my brother, that's the only time my sleep get broke is when I think about how my brother was murdered, when I think about how my cousin Tavon Anderson was murdered, and then how all of our brothers and fathers and sisters and mothers and things like that are being murdered and nobody being held accountable. That's what makes me, or lots of nights, can't sleep. But far as me with a conscious mind, I sleep good because I ain't never crud nobody out. I ain't never do no cruddy stuff to nobody. I can honestly say that. I take the shirt off my back to give it to anyone. That's who I am. I don't even need to talk and say that. My whole character speaks for itself. So with that being said, please share our flyer. Please show up. Even if you show up for 10 minutes, show up. You don't have to be a victim of police brutality. But guess what? It can happen to you easily. We read off a bunch of names. We don't have none tonight. We don't have any tonight. But again, you could be a victim easily of police brutality and murder, and it's all hand in hand. Anything can happen at any given time. So don't think because it didn't happen with your family or your loved one or a friend or relative that it won't happen, because it can. And I don't wish this type of pain on anyone. But, you know, it's just sad. But that's why I said we got to love and support each other. That's all we got. Like, we have nothing to lose but our change. So with that being said, I'm going to do a mic check. I'm going to turn it over. I don't know if Kalia is here to read the questions or the comments. And I'm going to see if anybody else want to say something before we go into the questions or comments. And then we're going to close out. Mic check.
Mic check.
So do you ladies want to say anything before you go to the questions or comments? Mic check.
I think we're
All
good.
right, so
There's a lot
I'm
of
sorry, go
comments,
for it.
Tawanda, and
okay,
she has had the flyer up for most of the time you're talking.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So is anybody there to be able to read the comment?
Yeah, Kalia, can you do?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Kalia, I'm glad you're here, sweetie. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Awesome.
All right, starting off, we have mic check from Adina and me as well. I also commented, good evening, everyone. Adina commented, with the video that we started off with, it's striking to me how Darrell Harris's instincts were so powerful to know that he was not safe with those killers outside his car. Our host for the live stream commented the information for next week of our rally happening at 7:30 at Pennsylvania Avenue to honor all victims of police brutality and highlight this area of Baltimore that's been impacted by police brutality. Also, we shared a link for the event that Tawanda will speak at Red Emma's on Thursday, November 20th at 7 p.m. Adina also commented, nationwide corruption using medical examiners to cover up police murders. Police brutality is a literal epidemic in the United Snakes of America. Adina also commented, we were outside the Baltimore County Courthouse yesterday, and they have a monument dedicated to fallen officers outside. Since 1966, there have only been 10 fallen officers on the monument. So 60 years to have 10 fallen officers and 2 days for 10 victims murdered by police. Descartes commented, we're here for you, Tawanda. Adina commented that so-called information you're given from the medical examiner's office is also a lie. They bring in people all of the time to identify the remains of family members. They were so wrapped up in the cover-up they had to lie. Civilians are brought into the medical examiner's office all of the time to identify bodies. Mainism commented, mic check. Adina commented, you took on too much of that negative energy, referring to you, Tawanda, in the past weekend. The sage was burning crazy and heavy by that 7-Eleven. Glad you're on the mend. Dina also commented, the families have to deal with the slimy medical examiners, slimy cops, and then slimy lawyers. All crud balls. Descartes commented, this is a shame what happens in the system. Adina commented, because these courts are racist, classist, and corrupt, what we witnessed the times we went to both county and city courts is disgusting. And referring to what you said about disgusting comments on articles online, Descartes commented, I swear I don't try to read those comments. Adina also commented, yeah, the comment sections are like hillbilly circuses. And also talking about how people being killed by police have everything else besides the actual police being attributed. Adina said, yeah, it had nothing to do with the arm around Eric Garner's neck or Chauvin's knee or David Lewis's knee. Adina said, please see additional comments in the chat. They're being censored. I guess on YouTube, not all of the comments are being shown. I'm not sure which ones aren't coming up. But those are all the ones I'm able to see here online so far. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
It's
Yeah.
check.
So, mic check. Is that Brother Brian?
Yeah, he's here.
Yes, it is.
Oh, Brother Brian, do you have a list for us tonight?
We do not have any names of Baltimore fatalities this week. There's one, maybe two people, or I believe it's two people, but we don't have their names.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Chief, for being here. Do you want to say anything before we wrap out, close out, or do you want to say anything?
Just to say that, it's always a good week when we don't have any names, and let's hope that we can just keep the violence down and keep making the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Yes, absolutely. That's a perfect way to close out. And I just want to thank everybody for all their comments, their time, their dedication, their love, their support. Mic check, and just thank you guys so much. And yeah, and it's just sad that like we being censored and all this foolishness, but nobody censored none of that foolishness when they were saying racist stuff about us just for doing a peaceful protest. And yeah, but again, remember, live to love, love to live. I already done made the flyer for next week, my profile pic on Facebook. So if you guys can share the flyer, sharing is caring. And I would love to see Lottie Dottie and everybody next West Wednesday for National Police Brutality Day, that we uplift all the victim names. And there's so many. Oh my goodness. Like, we would need decades to just like catch up. And that's so sad and disgusting. But remember, live to love to live. See you guys next West Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. by the CVS at Penn North. And unfortunately, the way we brought you in with the video, I want to thank Rachel for opening up and just always being here. I want to thank Kalia. I want to thank Hillary for bringing me in, and the whole entire West Coalition for everything they do. And thank each and every last one of y'all. I hope everybody have a fabulous rest of their evening. And please stay tuned to watch the video. Mic check.
Mic
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life, and Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5, unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why you
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the Gun Trace Task Force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's attorney see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salam vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the Officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.